The Force is what gives the Jedi his power. It's an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us and penetrates us. It binds the galaxy together.
So spoke Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi when explaining the Force to Luke Skywalker. We could quibble all day over the definition, but that misses the point entirely. The Force was the backdrop of a movie made by a budding film director with only 2 pictures under his belt. It was conceived as a cobbling together of everything that worked in terms of making a good story that gripped people. The thing is, when you put in the effort and you're sincere about it, it works. The father of Star Wars never expected his creation to reach the heights it did. But it did, and he had to roll with it. He didn't have a plan, but plans never work out the way you expect them to. A second movie and a line of action figures grew from it. Then the trend continued, and in just a few short years, there was a whole trilogy, and books and video games in absolute droves exploded from it. Star Wars became a cultural phenomenon with a life all its own. Imagination is something everyone needs. It's much like the Force in that regard. It can be found anywhere by anyone looking hard enough, but bottling for someone else is something entirely different. Doing so is a remarkable gift, one that George Lucas possessed in spades. He wasn't perfect about it. All too many people are quick to point out the minor inconsistencies in the movies that they swear break the immersion for them. Well, that's their opinion. Nobody can tell a perfect story, because such a thing does not exist. Still, it spoke to many people and helped them find meaning in their own lives and the world around them. Then came the dark time. Then came the sale to Disney. Disney did the unthinkable, the unconscionable, the unforgivable. They took a beloved franchise, seized it through legal means, and deliberately poisoned it, forcing their opinions on the fan base. They took what was a story of growth, maturity, fall, separation, and redemption, and turned it into a soapbox for a political agenda. This approach was doomed from the start, both in terms of turning a profit and getting people to accept their politics. Politics, after all, is only window dressing for one's religion. It's easy to forget, given that the discourse of the past couple centuries has shifted our thinking from the mystical to the material to such an extent that we'd forget that the mystical even exists. But it does. And this is where imagination comes in. Politics can be put into imagination, but only in very small amounts. Too much, and the audience wants nothing to do with it. They tune out because they were sold a false bill of goods. When Disney bought the rights to Star Wars, we were promised that the same people who made so many of our early childhood dreams would make something even more spectacular. Instead, they pulled a bait and switch and subjected us to a lecture. They told us that we were bad people for disagreeing with them, for wanting a story with real struggles and inspiration that spoke to that greater, more mystical side of us in a way that side understands, and tell us how we could deal with the struggles in our own lives. What Disney did was worse than simply tricking us into wasting our money or making a subpar story. They went and deliberately polluted our imaginations. They took that beautiful thing, that wellspring of inspiration, and slowly, cruelly tortured it to death in front of us for all of us to see. And they called us the worst of things for having a problem with it. Contemptible does not even begin to describe what these people are. They are murderers of dreams and joy. But hope is not lost. Hope is never lost. It may feel like it is, now more than ever, with the whole world falling apart around us. That world was built on a house of cards. The idea that man is nothing more than a pile of meat and neurons, and can be directed and programmed like a fleshy droid. They can't keep up the facade much longer. We should let this world of theirs die. Now, more than ever, we are in need of brilliant creative minds to once again stoke our imaginations. Star Wars may not be salvageable in terms of officially licensed material, but it won't cease to exist in spirit. Art lasts, and Star Wars will last forever. Do not let what it made you feel die. Keep that alive. Continue to make art and write stories. These are the times that will try the imagination, that twin sister of the Force. And should we prevail, she will stand forth in greater beauty, strength, and nobility than before. Do not let the Empress win. As always, may the Force serve you well.